Yeah, thank you. Sorry if I scream a little bit. So what we are doing for inclusive design, what we are doing for the responsible design. The four associations that here are represented today, we have decided to join together, and we are going to sign symbolically, of course, today, the agreements that will bring us all together to work for in the future for inclusion and for responsible design. So, as you can see here on the left side, the first agreement will be between ECIA and EIDD.
So incredibly important because interiors and inclusive design, they both begin with an I, and we want to be best friends with ECIA. And having met you, Thomas, and I think spent some time with you and your board, I think it'll be a very, very powerful partnership.
Yes, indeed. I'm totally agreeing. This partnership is a logic way of meeting the two associations, bringing them together. Actually, what we saw in the panel discussion before, it's very clear that inclusive design, responsible design has to be a part of our identity as an interior designer. So it is very logic that we do this alliance and this memorandum of understanding to work together.
Yeah. And the second agreement we have, the second memorandum of understanding is between AIPi and DFA Design for All Italia. That is a branch also of ADB. And we have here the president, Francesco Redighiero, and Marco will be the responsible for AIPi for this project, for the inclusion. And Pete, Francesco.
Well, first of all, thank you to all, and thank you to Marco, because without him it was impossible to do what we talk about. I just want to be very, very quick. I think this is going to be a chance to push to the limit the design flow process in order to apply it, in applying the project, in ideas, in concept, in research and development, because for what we learned today this morning, what we listened to, right now we have to project for the well-being for people, no? Space, environments, objects, products, even services cannot be longer a limit for the people. There be an opportunity, a chance to express themselves, to live in a good way, and so on. And for everybody, from the kids to the elderly, and because it was born, everybody here is for like enable, you know, and maybe if you live longer, you can be long with some disabilities, some problems. So we have to take this chance to focus on this matter, and this is going to be a great adventure.
Thank you. Only a few words? Yes, okay. I only want to thank Antonio Antonis and all the members of the AIPi Executive Committee for entrusting me with this prestigious role. I would also like to thank the president of DFA Italia, Antonio Antonis, and the entire association for the work we have carried out together so far and for what we will achieve in the future. I will use the fuel of my enthusiasm to steer the vehicle of interior design for all along the path towards an interior space whose form follows function, yet is not boring, it's not merely Instagrammable, but it's at last human. Let form follow humanity.
Thank you, Marco. So, just a second, let's help us to move the chair, because we have a video. This video was made by a partner of EIDD, the region of Tuscany. They are doing a great job for inclusion. And so we have this video about inclusion now. And I hope you enjoy it. ringraziamo la regione Pescara per averci fornito questo meraviglioso video. Speriamo che anche la regione Lombardia adesso insomma si avvicinerà a noi e a tutte le regioni d'Italia per portare avanti questo percorso che noi del nostro piccolo cerchiamo di fare. Quindi, ok, we'll proceed.
Fantastic. Wow, what a video. Thank you, Anton. Right, I'm going to invite my second panel, please, to step on the stage. And we're going to start straight away.
Yeah, I just want to... c'è Simona?
C'era.
Hai preso la suora. Presente. Sì.
Simone, ecco qui. Possiamo parlare in inglese? Yeah, we take just a chance. Before starting the panel, in AIPi we have some honor members. There are personalities in the fields of interior design. So one of our major honor members, Piero Castiglioni, that was us, isn't it? And today we would like to invite my great friend Simona Fines. Then we'll say what we share together. Okay? We was born the same day, 22nd of September. So 22nd, yeah, 22, yeah. And we are very honored to have you here. She has done an incredible job for AIPi for all these years. So you know AIPi for more than 30 years at least. So long journey together. And for us, it's a great pleasure to have you in our family as a honor member. I'm just taking time because I'm waiting somebody to bring me the award. Where's the award? Where's the award? It's coming probably, yeah. Okay, it's coming. Okay, Rita.
So just a few words. So I thanks a lot because it's a great honor to receive this mention. Usually I spent in the past a lot of time for a different association, AIPi. We celebrate an amazing birthday, I think the 40 years ago in Vicenza, Teatro Olimpico Palladiano is amazing experience. And so I'm very grateful for this honor.
If you're a bit late, right?
Yes, no problem. So, and so thanks a lot.
Thank you, Simona. So the award we'll give you a little bit later. We'll take champagne together. So please, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you. You take care. Okay, shall we start panel? Yeah.
Fantastic. Right, we're now on to the role of design in the future of European professional standards. May I ask the panels to please step on the stage?
Yeah, so we are a little bit in delay, so I'll go very quickly. So first of all, I just want to introduce the norm. The norm was one of the biggest achievements that we have in Italy. And Italy has also another couple of very important achievements, and then Lorenzo will ask your suggestion about that. In 1957, Europe decided to go together, and they started the work to build the European Community, CEE, and it was made in Roma. So in Rome in 1957, all 26 countries at that time decided to stay together and to start building Europe. And the second step was also in Italy. It happens in Bologna on 1999 with the training document of the University of the Training in Europe. And today we are here still in Italy to discuss about the norm that hopefully can be a milestone for the future of the design profession in Europe. So as you see, Italy, it's everywhere in this moment, I think so. So I like to say that this is very important today that norm is presented here during the Milano Design Week. So it's the most important event in the world for design. And it was important for us to do it today here. And I'm really happy to have this kind of person with me, so-called incredible specialists, people that have worked hardly because the norm was started the work in 2018, and was presented by the three major associations in Italy that are ADI, for Disegno Industriale, a product design association, IAP, that's a visual design, and we have a representative here by Luciano Perondi, and of course AIPi for the interior design field. Together, these associations started this process, including all academic world, industries, and all other kinds of professions. And 29th of January, the law was presented, was written, was online, and today it's online. So I give back to you the microphone.
Great.
Thank you very much, and
Thanks,
hope
Antonio.
you enjoy the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So happy. So Antonio took the shaded seat. So I'm gonna sit inside. Thank you, Antonio. And Anna Rita couldn't be with us today, but I understand that she had a great role within this to come together. So she has written a few words, and my colleague Tavina, who is also a board member within the European Council of Interior Architects, is going to read her words to you. Thank you, Davina.
Ma prima gli occhiali, don't mind. So, good morning. I greet all those present today as president of Commercio Professioni and as coordinator of Uni APNR. Confcommercio Professioni, the sector federation of Confcommercio, represents professional associations counting approximately 30,000 members. It protects professional self-employment in sectors not organized into professional orders and promotes a representative body. Confcommercio Profession is an aggregate form pursuant to law number 4, 2013, registered in the specific list held by the Ministry of Enterprises and made in Italy. Among these is IPI, which is organizing this event today. The Uni Designer Standard is an important achievement for which I congratulate all of the participants of the Commission and the associations that promoted the initiative. So we have ADI, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, ADI, IAPi, and IPI. I always say IPI. Okay, which are all members of this Commercio Professioni. And so this phase started back in 2018, and the result achieved is an objective that fills us with great pride. I would like to thank the first coordinator, Giacomo Riccio, okay, non è qua, and the technical project manager and technical officer of the Commission, who subsequently took over, Fabio Rossi. The work we have carried out falls, as I mentioned, within the functions of the Commission 06, which applies the APNR standard for unregulated professional activities, elaborated within the Uni Professions Direction Table. We have finally managed to define the standard for the professional figure of the designer, which covers knowledge, skill, autonomy, and responsibility requirements. In this regard, I thank all representatives of the participating associations. Antonio Antonis, which I can't say, in particular, and the other members of the working group, especially the coordinator, Professor Luciano Perondi, and all other representatives, okay, sorry, and all other representatives of the educational and university institutions who participated in this work. Agree to it all, and all the best.
Thank you so much, Davina. Right, can I ask you to start by introducing yourselves, just a very quick introduction, as you know we're running out of time. So, yeah, quick introduction, please.
So I am Luciano Perondi. I'm a representative of IAP, and I'm associate professor at U of Venice. And I work in my main field of study is reading process. So I study reading and languages, and I'm expert of visual communication.
My name is René Pier. I'm from Stuttgart, Germany. I'm board member and in the board responsible for all what comes around education. And that's why I'm here to represent the ECIA for the spider models. And of course, we worked for the Charter of Interior Architectural Training throughout Europe.
Hi, good morning to everyone. My name is Lorenzo Imbesi. I'm full professor at Sapienza University of Rome, and I am here representing the Italian Society of Design, which has been taking part of the table of the UNI, ISO 12000. And I'm here also representing the CUMUS Association, which is a global organization networking nearly 400 schools of design around the world.
Hello, everybody. I'm Fabio Rossi, and I'm technical officer for Uni, Ente Italiano di Normazione, and I'm really glad to be here with all of you today.
Thank you so much. Luciano, I'll start with you. Can you talk us through how the consultation evolved, please?
I prepared some slide, and in order to be more precise, I will read some passages because it's quite delicate. Not to say the wrong. Okay. I was to entitle my speech for representation to responsibility because it was a process that was moving from representing a profession to being aware of a responsibility of designing society and environment. First of all, the consensus building process. The consultation was structured as an open multi-stakeholder negotiation, progressively expanding its scope and refining its language. The process was shaped by continuous alignment with the European framework, iterative revisions, and broad stakeholder involvement. Okay, thank you. At the beginning, the focus was mainly on professional recognition, defining what a designer does in operational terms, but this quickly proved insufficient. The process moved toward a competence-based model, obviously aligned with the EQF, focusing on knowledge, skills, autonomy, and above all, responsibility, which is very important in our process. Rather than separating product, communication, service, interior, and so on, the consultation recognized design as a unified field acting across material and immaterial domains, including systems, service, and processes. Okay. A key methodological choice in the development of the norm was the adoption of task, knowledge, skill framework, as Rita said, consistent obviously with the EQF. Okay. Tasks means what designer actually do in practice. Knowledge, what the designer needs to know. Skills, what the designer is able to do. And in the end, levels of autonomy and responsibility. This sequence is crucial. It shifts the focus from abstract definition or educational pathways to what designers actually do in practice and how this can be observed, evaluated, and validated. And most important, you missed some slides, so I will say the ethical dimension. The discussion increasingly incorporated ethical, social, and environmental dimensions. A designer is not only a problem solver, but an actor responsible for impacts on society and environment. And this was clearly stated in the definition. This norm is grounded on a flexible framework. This kind of definition made the norm less fixed and more a shared reference framework capable of evolving over time. Design can be understood as an intellectual and methodological activity that integrates ideation and making. operating across material and immaterial domain, mediating with other disciplines, with the aim of improving the quality of life of people and the natural environment. The discussion increasingly incorporated ethical, social, and environmental dimension. Okay. I wanted to finish my brief speech with the answer. Unfortunately, Pete Kercher is not here. I wanted to say something in answer. He asked me which is the role of design for all in the norm. The norm explicitly recalls principles such as accessibility, sustainability, and social inclusivity, and frames design as an activity aimed at improving the quality of life of people and environment. In this sense, is closely aligned with the design for all approach. DFA is not a specialization, but a general orientation of the profession. Design is expected to address the widest possible range of uses, conditions, and contexts, integrating diversity as a fundamental parameter of the project. Rather than defining design for all as a specific domain, a norm implicitly embeds its principle in the general definition of design practice. And inclusivity here is not just a value, but a structural and intrinsic feature. It affects who can be recognized as the designer and how the competences are evaluated and how the profession is related to the society. Okay.
Thank you so much. Kathy? Fabio, I'll move over to you now, and I would like to ask you to describe the work of UNR. How does it fit into the European Qualification Network?
Okay, so let's try to explain sort of the structure of the standard and also how it is, let's say, organized. We have already heard that the EQF and the dimensions of knowledge and skill were already mentioned. Let's say we all took this reference from the EQF recommendation published by European Commission in 2008 and then revised in 2017. Basically, you already heard, we take from there the framework of the standard, and also for unit standard. For unit standard on professions. Let's say we can take the dimensions of knowledge, so what the professional needs to know, and skill, so what the professional needs to be capable of doing. And we mix them together with the levels that the EQF framework makes available. So we have on the right side of the slide, let's say the scale of level, which goes from the inferior one, which is characterized by a low, basically absent level of competence. And as you rise to the top of the scale, you get more and more a higher level of competence. And as you can see, I placed a note about where the designer is attesting. So we have the 6th level for the first level designer and the 7th level for the expert designer. This means that the autonomy and responsibility that the designer can put in place are very high and very and the profile is very autonomous in doing so. We can also have a look here at the index of the standard. Basically, we have some points of the clauses, as we call them in standardization, that are basically common to each of the standards we publish. I just wanted to mention clause number 1, which is the scope of the standard, and basically specifies that the standard is related to the professional figures of the designer. And then we have 2 other very important topics, which are clause number 4 and 5. Number 4 talks about tasks. So what can you expect from the activity of the professional? and is usually structured in a processual logic. Which is the path to follow to get from the start of my activity to the end. And then we also have point number 5, which again speaks about the knowledge and skills, which are the real requirements in the standard. Last mention, you probably cannot see it, but we also have a couple of annexes, and Annex A basically provides all the requirements to conformity assessment bodies to perform the certification of the professional. Just to mention it, the certification is volunteer. So it is like a method for the professional to show another certification of quality of his or her own job. I've spoken about conformity assessment, but probably most of you don't know what I'm talking about. So it's it's a quite complicated process, but I'll try to be as easy as possible. So we have the conformity assessment bodies that, as I already said, are those who perform and manage the exam of certification for the professional. Then we have the standardization work, which is represented here by me, but also by Lorenzo Imbesi and Luciano Perondi, who are the layer between all the participants. They are those who add the technical content to provide us. I'm just the one who tried to put everything together. So standardization declares which are the requirements, and then we have the third. Sorry, with the microphones. And then we have the accreditation system, which is let's say represented in Italy by Accredia, which has the role to assess and verify that all the conformity assessment body perform the evaluation of competencies and of the requirement in the correct way. I won't go into detail of that because it's really boring and annoying, but that's pretty much how this standard works. And thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Eddie. And Lorenzo, I'd like you to talk to us through the contribution of the academic world, the impact of training, etc.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the invitation, by the way. Thank you to Antonio Antonis and AIPi. Let's say that both in Italian and English. But it was a very, very long journey. I mean, it lasted something like 7 years altogether, and maybe more. And not always an easy job. Not always an easy job. And thank you to the people here that really, worked for this, and they had also an important role in this project. But at the end, we did it. I believe that, of course, the norm is a norm. That means there is a policy. At the end of the day, it's a policy. But also, it is not only about standards. It is also about values. It is also speaking about values. So for the very, very first time, we have a document that is nationally recognized, speaking about what is design and what is a designer. And I think this is something very, very important for design itself. For the culture of design itself. And I will try to translate part of this note. It's a couple of lines, sorry. I will do my best to translate it from Italian. Let's see if I'm able to do it. Because I think that it's also the language that is being used that is also some kind of poetry behind somehow. So you would not expect that from a policy. So it says that the designer is a professional that is taking at the center of his activity design as a project, as intellectual and methodological elaboration that is connecting together both doing and thinking, la dimensione del fare e la dimensione ideativa, doing and thinking, through processes of knowledge and innovation. The designer is the person that is working on designing material and immaterial artifacts, products, systems, services, environment, processes, scenarios, and visions in order to improve the quality of life of people and the natural environment through processes of transformation and innovation. So it is speaking about what is design, it is recognizing this through society. That means that this is important for young students, so they know even before they apply, what is design. It's not just a blurry concept, it's something clear. It is important for those who apply to be in the future designer, for a design school. It's important for the students that are already, still studying in design. And at the end of the day, it's important for the professional. So they also speak out in society and say what they are doing. And that's recognized culturally in the society for the first time. So this is, I guess, just after the idea of standard, which is of course important, it is about the values that we share together during this long journey. And so the other detail, the other thing that I think is very, very important is the process. As I say, we've been spending something like around 7 years for my experience, although I'm sure that it's much longer for others. 7 years, it's a process. And the process is made of people, is made of interaction between people, it's made of discussions together, it's made of fights, even fights. But this is all rich because, what this table did that was never done before is bringing at the same table a public institution, universities like mine, private institution like private schools, and then professional also organization like AIPi, ADI, and so on. So all these people, these stakeholders, which they bring a completely different point of view, pretty different need and vision on design. We were all around the table and we had to find out a common language to discuss together, which is not easy. So at the end of the day, it's not just about the norm, it's also about all the process that we've been doing to all together until the end, that we're being, developing this kind of language that is a rich outcome that we have at the end of the day. And I really wish that this outcome will be taken into account also for the future, because we have a number of challenges. I mean, the job is not yet done. I mean, we need somehow to bring this. We have the norm, but we need to bring it to life, into society. And then as people we are working on the education of design, we have a number of challenges. One of them is, I say, something that is, of course, taken for granted, like AI. Sustainability, internationalization. I mean, how can you educate a young designer in a world that now is more and more international, and where you have a challenge that is not anymore related to your own country, but it's coming from the outside? I mean, our students are not just students of Italian students, but they are international students. So they have a completely, so there's another challenge. It's, of course, AI is completely changing the framework of studying and teaching, but also the profession. It says that this is going to be changing. Really, it's already changing. So these are the challenges. So we need to keep this kind of network for the future, to keep discussing about what are the values, what is the common ground that we have for and what are the principles that we share together for the future of design. I really wish that we keep on working on this for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorenzo. I can definitely see the passion in the speech. Ringing. What is the spider model? How does it impact the normalization work? And what is the result of the study, and how is today the situation in Europe and European countries in general, and the ECIA member countries? And if you can talk us through that, please, that would be great.
So I just want to focus on one slide because time is running, and I will talk about a study which is 178 pages. So when we all go through these pages, we all burns in this heat here. So it's on the stage like a sauna. So I will build very, very fast. What we saw with the norm in Italy we have to share it now with 21 countries. And you see the study we've done, you may know that the ECIA is an umbrella organization about the organizations of interior architecture / interior design. And this makes it also important that the naming of the profession is different in accordance to the countries. So it makes it more difficult to underline under one surface to say, this is our profession. So that's why it is so good to have this work to be done, this 7 years of work to define it. And then when you define it, then you can work with it. And of course, the target and the goal of everything we do is that the society had to understand what we are doing, because then they can benefit of our work, and then we can benefit of our knowledge put in our work. And that's why we created this study in terms of 3 axes. One axis was the regulation of the education. Then for underlining the education, we created the Charter of an Interior Architecture Training in Europe, which is also a fascinating document. Please take it on the line from the site of ECIA. It's in various languages, so it's in German, in Spanish. I think it's also in Italian language. So please go through it, because this is the base of what it was also for creating this norm, because it comes from the target of the goals of our profession. So what we are doing as professionals, how can we achieve this, through what kind of knowledge and what kind of layers we have to introduce this knowledge to our students. So next level is the regulation of the legislation. So how the title is protected in the various countries. I'm coming from Germany. I'm lucky. When you see the triangle there, it's almost clear. So we have everywhere the highest grade of regulation. So we have a clear understanding of legislation. We have a lot of universities doing curriculum by interior architecture. And of course, we have a strong national organization with more than 2,000 members. So they also support the notion of interior architecture throughout the society. So, but there are other countries like Norway, they have no regulation at all, but still they have a good standing in society. And then in between no regulation and full regulation, there are a lot of countries, they are, So for them, it is so brilliant to have this kind of work with this norm, but now you can follow a path and understand how the path is going. And we all in Europe start this path for the end, and the target in the very far horizon is the full recognition of our profession in Europe. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know whether it's saying that the triangles are the education, legislation, and practice, and you can see how it's skewed in every country towards one more than the other. I thought I'd just make that clear. Thanks very much. Well, I think we're nearly running out of time, so I probably have 3 minutes. So if anybody has got anything else to add that we haven't discussed, please step in. The mic is all yours.
You already said because I already answered to the question Pete would have asked me, so I left there a lot of more.
I just want to say thank you to be here in Milan. Thank you to be here in the Salone and the Milan Design Week, because this is the emotional capital of design. And it's this positive energy we see and we feel in the streets, that design has an impact on us and our society. So that's why it is the right place to do this here. And thank you, Antoni, for do this exactly here. Thank you.
Antonio, do you want to add, I reckon?
I just want to personally thank you for coming. That's the first thing. Lorenzo, thank you. I know that you waked up very early this morning, even you. So really, they put all the strength, and because they believe in design. Design is an incredible world that join us and I absolutely agree with you. So we have now about 6 minutes of a stop. We'll prepare the stage because Mr. Karim Rashid arrived, and then we will finish this day, which is his speech about the future of interior design, the future of design, because we have spoke about inclusion, spoke about responsibility, spoke about heart, and now maybe you'll speak about something else will join to us, to our heart. So hopefully, thank you. So 5 minutes break, and then we come back. Thank you.